little different. Lots of light. Good morning, everyone. My name is Joe. I'm a member of the Urban Dharma Board here. I want to welcome everyone to this wonderful event that we have today. Very wonderful to have Khinchen Konchok Rangdol Rinpoche here. And I'll just say a few words before we get started. If you're new here, we have utilities in the back if you need to use them. As you know, in here, no shoes in this area, but outside of the wooded floor area, you can put your shoes back on. I'll say a few words first here. We are very pleased to have Khinchen Konchok Rangdol Rinpoche here, and I just want to give a short biography of him. Most Venerable Khinchen Konchok Rangdol Rinpoche was born in 1975 in the serene Himalayan region of Ladakh. At the age of 9, he was ordained as a monk at the historic Lamayuru Monastery, where he began his monastic journey by learning sacred rituals and memorizing key Buddhist scriptures. In 1988, he joined the Drikung Kagyu Institute at Janjubling Monastery in Dehradun, Uttarakhand, to pursue advanced studies in Buddhist philosophy. His sharp intellect and unwavering dedication to the Dharma enabled him to progress swiftly through a demanding curriculum. Over the course of 9 intensive years, he mastered the teachings of the Tripitaka, the Gongchik, the single intent, and the complete corpus of the Kagyu lineage teachings. His exceptional academic achievements earned him high recognition and deep respect within the monastic community. In 1996, he received full ordination from His Holiness Drikung Kyobpa Chetson. Just 2 years later, in 1998, His Holiness conferred upon him the esteemed title of Khenpo, in acknowledgement of his profound understanding of Buddhist philosophy and his ability to teach. Due to his scholarly excellence and leadership qualities, Khinchen Konchok Rangdol was appointed principal of the Drikung Kagyu Institute in 2001, becoming the youngest Khenpo ever to hold this prestigious position. From 2001 to 2014, he served as both abbot and principal of the Drikung Kagyu Institute and Kagyu College, where he mentored a new generation of Buddhist scholars and practitioners. For over 2 decades, he has taught an extensive range of subjects, including Madhyamaka, Yogacara, Uttara Tantra, Buddhist history, Abhidharma, Vinaya, Tantra, and the Drikung Gongchik. Many of the current Khenpos in the Drikung Kagyu lineage are his direct disciples. In addition to his academic work, he has also completed a 1-year retreat to deepen his personal spiritual practice. Khinchen Konchok Rangdol Rinpoche has served internationally as a visiting professor. In 2005, he was invited as a guest professor at the Department of Cross-Cultural and Religious Studies, University of Copenhagen, Denmark. In 2013, he served as a visiting professor at the University of Vienna, Austria. He has frequently represented His Holiness Drikung Kyobpa Chetson at both international and international events and seminars, often serving as his special assistant in Southeast Asia and official spokesperson. He has published numerous scholarly articles and written several commentaries on Buddhist teachings. Currently, he holds multiple leadership roles, including Chairman, Drikung Kagyu Institute Charitable Society, Dehradun. President, Drikung Kagyu Dharma Foundation, Ladakh. Founder and President, Dun Buddhist Committee, Dehradun. Co-founder, Bodhi Stupa Project at Tirkarmo Monastery, Ladakh. Executive Member and Dharma Secretary, International Buddhist Confederation. In recognition of his immense contributions to the Drikung Kagyu lineage and his unwavering dedication to the Dharma, His Holiness Drikung Kyobpa recently appointed him to the prestigious position of Third Drikung Kagyu Khinchen Rinpoche, one of the highest honors in the Drikung Kagyu tradition. At this point, I will hand over the microphone to our spiritual director here, Dorlap Rinpoche, Dr. Hanla.
Thank you and good morning. I'm assuming something is going on here. Okay, good. Okay, yes. So anyway, let us begin with some opening recitations. This is actually this red text here, page 73 of this red text is the opening recitations. Page 73. Those of you who are joining us from on Zoom, we sent out the opening prayers. So for that, it's basically page 1, page 2. In the PDF called the opening prayers. So because we have different texts, so bear with us. We'll try to let you know where we are. So on the PDF for the opening prayers, if you're joining us on Zoom, it's on page 1, the opening recitations. All Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path, the liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. All Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path, the liberation and all-knowingness, happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. All Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, obstacles on my path, the liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. Thus, until I achieve Buddha, I engage in virtuous deeds, speech and mind. Until death, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. if you are using the PDF or the booklet, now page 6 in the picture, this is called the picture, page 77. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until is reached by the merit of generosity and other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood of all wandering beings in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, until Bodhi is reached by the merit of generosity and may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings in the Buddha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached. Generosity and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, causes of happiness, may they be liberated from suffering, and the causes of suffering separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. Rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, causes of happiness, may they be liberated from suffering. Causes of suffering, may they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. Free from the bias of attachment and aversion, may all mothers and the causes of happiness, may they be liberated from suffering, and the causes of suffering, may they never be separated. Free from sorrow, may they rest in equanimity. Of attachment and aversion. Bhajra Samaja, Bhajra Samaja, Bhajra Samaja, protectors of all sentient beings without deities who vanquish the ruthless hordes of Maras, knowers of everything as it is. Send your retinues, please come here. Argyam Padyam Pushpe Dhupe Gande Nivide Shabda Pratitya Soha. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers. With the supreme mountains, 4 continents, sun and moon I hold in mind, and then offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure realm, whatever slight that may have been gathered to prostrating, offering, confessing, requesting and beseeching, I now dedicate to complete Bodhi. So I want to personally, again, to welcome Khenchen Rinpoche to Urban Dharma. We are very fortunate to have you come and visit us here today. But the main reason, in fact, for Rinpoche to come this time is to actually see the progress of the Drikung Forest Hermitage. Kunzang Naksel, 1 hour away from here in Burnsville. We're getting close in terms of the first public building, the Dharma Hall. And so I'm also taking this opportunity to announce and to invite all of you, those of you local here, of course, and those of you joining us from everywhere, to come to the inauguration of the Dharma Hall, which we will be doing on the 4 days from July 16th to July 19th. 16, 17, 18, 19. The first 3 days will be teachings from Khenchen Goncho Gyaltsen Rinpoche, as well as the offering of the 1,000 offerings of Ushnisha Vijaya. All of this dedicated to the good health and the longevity and the success of His Holiness's retreat in Bhutan. The 18th is also Chokor Duchen, the day that the Buddha turned the Dharma wheel for the first time. Also coincides with His Holiness's birthday. Also coincides with the day that His Holiness entered into retreat. So very auspicious on the 18th. Then on the 19th, the festivities of the opening of the Dharma Hall. There will be a lot of work between now and then. And right now, most of the work has been work that we need to pay professionals to do. But very soon, the things that the professionals have to do are done. Then all the details, we will be needing a lot of volunteer time and hour. So an appeal for all of you to join us in this. And so Khenchen Rinpoche is one of the board members of the Drikung Kagyu Foundation USA that was founded in year 2013. And so he has come first time. Another board member, in fact, the president of the board now, His Eminence Trisap Rinpoche. Of course, Rinpoche has seen that land and the progress of that, most recently a few months ago when he was here. So this is the first time that Khenchen Rinpoche is seeing the progress of this project. And we hope next time when Khenchen Rinpoche comes back, then beyond the Dharma Hall, we have other facilities in place. This time Khenchen Rinpoche's visit is in a way low-key and somewhat unofficial. He came because he was invited by the Dharma Center, Drikung Kyobpa Chuling, in Southern California, to anchor their annual program. So Rinpoche has direct personal connection to that center. So then Rinpoche agreed to be there. Then once I knew he was in the US, I said, can you come see the land? Then since you're going to see the land, can you come do something at Urban Dharma? So this is how you do it, right? I said, so by the way. And so we're most fortunate to have Rinpoche here. Next time, Rinpoche, when you come, we need to organize a more formal program for the different centers. So at least something on the West Coast, something on the Central, something in the East Coast, something in the South. Then you can meet all the Drikung disciples that are all over in the U.S. So I apologize. Now this time you only get to meet a very small group of us. This small little center here in Asheville. As I was telling them, I first met you in 1999, my first time when I went to Dehradun, the center of His Holiness's activities in exile at the monastery in 99. And then, since then, of course, many other times we have been together. Most recently was in Nepal for 2 months and 10 days for the transmissions from His Holiness. the Damngazu, which a number of the members here were there also. And then, actually, that's not the most recent. The most recent was your enthronement in India during the transmission of the empowerments that His Holiness did. But anyway, I am very grateful that you are here. Welcome you again to Asheville. And so also very grateful that you have agreed to do these reading transmissions, as well as to give brief teachings on these transmissions. The traditional way of giving these transmissions tend to be just reading transmissions with not a lot of explanation or at all any explanation. And then Khenchen Rinpoche said, that is probably not so interesting to many of us who are unfamiliar with that form of transmission. And so he will take pauses at different points and explain what is being transmitted. So just very briefly in terms of the transmission, mainly this is called a reading transmission. Sometimes it's also called the oral transmission. So the reading would be the oral, emphasizing the person giving. And then the receiving side is the aural, A-U-R-A-L, meaning listening. So mainly you listen. You listen to the words. And of course, these words are in Tibetan. You say, well, I don't know what it means. But underneath those words, right, is, you could say, the heart and the meaning. That are not dependent completely on the words. So if you receive the transmission with that understanding, then you receive the transmission. Then, of course, following the transmission of whatever text, you have to learn, you have to study. Then when you study the actual text, you learn with this kind of transmission that goes all the way back to where any particular text, wherever it started, whether it started in the person of a great master, which in our case, the transmission for this weekend, they are all the words of the founder of the Drikung lineage, Kyobpa Jigten Sumgen, all the way back to the words of the Buddha, ultimately. So think that you are now, you could say, by receiving these transmissions, you enter into the stream, the Kyobpa, what we call lineage, but also the stream. You have now entered into the stream that will lead to the great ocean of liberation. So that is how we should the mindset. Then Rinpoche will give us more instructions how to receive this transmission. But for a start, I said to Rinpoche that I think it will be good for us to recite this one prayer to help us focus our mind. And this is in the those of you who are in the room and those of you who have the pecha. Some of you I know have the pecha, even joining from afar. On page 100, on the pecha is page 118. Now we also sent out a document, a PDF called the 4 Sessions Guru Yoga. So those of you who are joining us online, if you don't have the pecha, it's one text, the 4 Session Guru Yoga text. If you look at that text, somebody who have that text, can you please take a look and tell us the page number? That one I don't have. If it's better, it's page 118. Yeah, page 118. But there's a PDF. Yes. Okay, so on the PDF, that section begins on. Actually, let's begin on. Let's begin on page. So if it's the PDF, 4 Sessions Guru Yoga is page 13. In the pecha, let's begin on page also 113 in this case. 113. So the first time we recite this, we're just going to recite straight through. Khenchen Rinpoche suggested that maybe tomorrow or later, we can do section by section, pause, meditate a little bit, pause, meditate a little bit. But maybe for the first time, so that we can go to the transmission of Gongchik sooner, we just recite one time through the whole prayer. It's a little long, but it's good, as Khenchen Rinpoche said, to contemplate each of the verses. But for the first time, especially some of you are unfamiliar with this prayer, we should do all the way, on page 113. I supplicate you, the Dharmakaya, great Vajradhara of the sixth family. I supplicate you, the 85 Indian Mahasiddhas. Supplicate you, Tili Pranya Bhadra. I supplicate you, Narogyana Siddhi. I supplicate you, Marpa of Lodra, the translator. I supplicate you, Mila Shepa Dorje. I supplicate you, Shonu of Dakpo. I supplicate you, the three Siddhas of Kam. Supplicate you, Dorje Kyobpa of Pagdu. I supplicate you, Jitsun Pelda. I supplicate you, Supreme Refuge. Sumgun, I supplicate you, Dharma Lord Ratna Shri. I supplicate you, Sutrim Dorje. I supplicate you, Onchen Sonam Drakpa. Supplicate you, Chenga Drakpa Jungne. I supplicate you, Chungo Dorje Drakpa. I supplicate you, Toka Senge. I supplicate you, Samche Drakpa Sonam. Supplicate you, Chuni Dorje Rinchen. I supplicate you, Tuku Dorje. I supplicate you, Nirni Chuki Gyalpo. I supplicate you, Dondru Gyalpo. I supplicate you, Rinchen Pelgi Gyaltsen. I supplicate Rinchen Pelzang. I supplicate you, Rikzin Chuki Gyatso. Gyawang Gunga Rinchen. I supplicate you, Jetsun Rinchen Punso. Rinchen Nambar Gyawa. I supplicate you, Gyawa. I supplicate you, Tsungme Chogyao Punso. I supplicate you, Drupchen Tashi Punso. Jitsun Kunjo Rinchen. I supplicate you, Rikzin Chuki Drakpa. I supplicate you, Kunjo Trinle Namgyao. I supplicate you, Kunjo Trinle Sangpo. I supplicate you, Trinle Dondu Chogyao. I supplicate you, Kunjo Tenzin Rodu. I supplicate you, Tenzin Chuki Nima. I supplicate you, Kyabda Pemme Gyansen. I supplicate you, Jamyan Chuki Gyansen. I supplicate you, Druwang Chuki Gyansen. I supplicate you, Tempe Zegen. I supplicate you, Gyawang Tuje Nima. I supplicate you, Nuden Dorje. I supplicate you, Jitsun Chuki Lodro. Gyalcho Shive Lodro, I supplicate you, Jitsun Dharmakara. Tritsa Tenzin Tupten, I supplicate you, the dark Bokagyu. I supplicate you, my kind root Guru, look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on the rarity of the freedoms and endowments. Squander away my life, look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on impermanence and death. Fixed on composite phenomena as permanent, look upon me from afar. Reckless and mundane, although I meditate on the unmistaken nature of cause and effect, pervert what to adopt and what to abandon, look upon me from afar. Reckless and mundane, although I meditate on the sufferings of cyclic existence, I still take to the lower realms, look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, although I safeguard the vows of individual, I still lack renunciation and their determination to be free, look upon me. Eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on all wandering beings as my parents, have bias attachment to friends and aversion for enemies, look upon me. Reckless and mundane, although I cultivate loving kindness and compassion, to envy and enmity, look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, although I cultivate, I still focus only on my own welfare, look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, although I meditate on my body as the deities, I still cling to ordinary perception. Reckless and mundane, although I have counted the mantras to be recited, my life force, look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, I cultivate the samadhi of moon in the water, the defy things as real and substantial, look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, although I conclude by dissolving in the subsequent stage, I still purify superficially, look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Although I meditate on my own mind as free from elaborations, I still have attitudes, look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, although I cultivate not grasping at whatever arises, a fixed and artificial watchfulness, look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, although I cultivate resting freely in the natural state, amplify artificialities, look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, although I meditate on unity beyond conceptions, carried away by the masses of likes and dislikes, look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, I supplicate you who are my refuge. In this and all other lives, physician who removes the chronic diseases of samsara, hero who vanquishes the enemies that are afflictive emotions, the darkness of ignorance, moon that pacifies the need of suffering, dew which fulfills all our needs and desires, Guru who are all-inclusive and all-sufficient, I supplicate you from the depths of my heart with compassion. Effortlessly bestow your blessings, grant me now and on this seed, truly accomplished feast of the two benefits. I am endowed with both. Do not leave my hopes unfulfilled. Do not cast away my devotion in vain. Supplications vanish unanswered. Don't be indifferent with your compassion. Refuge and protector in this life, in the intermediate state and beyond. Joy or sorrow, good or bad, only you are my hope. Look upon me with eyes of compassion. You alone are my hope.
Okay. Okay, can you hear?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Let's begin short prayer myself. 요란데 내게 와좀 된데 당연 다와 다도 명하지 라겐나면 대부 권에서 다외 먼저 교라고자 오면 초기 인계 보다는 도좀 상계 공경어 랑선 초공 오서 단자바 자외라면 잡라고자 되면 와서 특이 계고도 만데 시정 오버지라와 탐제세 보고 이게 저기지 냐면 대공된 전구죠. Okay, good morning. I'm very happy to be here at Urban Dharma. Very unique name. It's unusual. Usually we have something. Mostly the Tibetan names, So, but it's kind of very easy to remember. Urban Dharma, something very unique. Very happy to be here, and also particularly very happy to meet my close Dharma friend, Dolop Rinpoche, and all Dharma brothers and sisters. I think many of you are new face for me, I guess.
Many of them have seen me.
Seen you, okay. And also very happy to see, I always call in a Zoom mandala. So that's very nice, So mostly when they use Zoom, the teacher cannot see who are there. But then since all you are showing in a big screen, I'm very so happy to see. Also, you are in a Zoom mandala as if you are also a real presence here in front of me. So which is very nice, and also welcome for the teachings, all of you.
Request them to turn on video.
Okay, which is good. Yeah, then that's also good discipline, so they can focus. I can check whether they are really listening or I was actually in USA in 2016 along with Holiness. So that time I think Holiness was not here, but we visited some other part of the state. Then, and then 10 years later again I'm here in USA. Very happy to come back. And I had recently wonderful program at DKC, Drikung Kyobpa, and now I'm here to share some teaching. The main purpose of my coming to USA this time is, as Dolab Rinpoche mentioned, is kind of like unofficial. So mainly I just wanted to see, to pay respect to His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche. Now this year is marked as 90 years. So birthday celebration is going on. So that's one of my main purpose to come to USA, to just pay respect to Garchen Rinpoche. So he's one of the very renowned teacher. Okay, better? Okay. So, and also happy to be here to share some about the Gongchik teachings and also the transmission. Actually, I always consider the transmissions are quite important, and particularly the Lord Jigten Sunggon, he mentioned in the Gongchik text, the Tibetan we say that Chö Thamje Lung Dang Cheba, Lung Menga Dang Cheba, Menga Gyuba Dang Cheba, Gyuba Chinla Dang Cheba. You see, there's a 4 kind of like steps. The meaning is, I don't think you understand what I'm saying in Tibetan. The Chö Thamje Lung Dang Cheba means all kinds of the Dharma, the philosophy that we are sharing has to be combined with transmissions. That's the Chö Thamje Lung Dang Cheba. All has to be combined with transmission, or reading transmission, oral transmission. There are actually the many different way of transferring the transmission. So this is one of the common transmission is like kind of a reading transmission, the word by word, that's we call the transmission. There are actually some transmission that actually pass through heart to heart. That is kind of things that only happen to certain high realization masters. Chotamje Lungdan Sheba. And then, sorry, yes, and then also we call that is also we call it Polung, So the Polung is that actually when you, it's very interesting. So recently also I met, personally I also went to see one of our old senior Rinpoche, Yuta Rinpoche. He lives in Nepal. So I just want to check that how many the transmission that he received. So very late before Pachung Rinpoche, I'm sure you heard about the Pachung Rinpoche, one of the great yogi. So before he passed away, Yuta Rinpoche, he managed to go to Tibet, and then he received there was a huge gap after the Chinese revolution, so there was no religious kind of activity happened almost for 30, 40 years. And then when Yuta Rinpoche went back to Tibet, and in order to restore all the lineage of transmission and empowerment, everything, of course, the Pachung Rinpoche, he cannot transfer everything word by word. That might be, it will take for years. So there's no time for Rinpoche, both of them. And then what Pachung Rinpoche did was he collected all the text, entire text collected from the villager, from the monastery, whatever. So he was saying that there was a kind of many boxes of the text that collected by Pachung Rinpoche, and then he gave a kind of transmission we call like Pulung. Pe means actually a textbook, So Yuta Rinpoche, he told me that Rinpoche, he gave entire the text, the collection, he put on his hand. So that means this is for you allow to practice any kind of the text that whatever you're receiving. No. He put first on the head, so that is for on your practice, and then secondly he put on your hand. This is you allow to spread. You allow to spread the teachings, or even Pachung Rinpoche told that in this case now this only happened that because if the master is really kind of highly who accomplishes such a high realization master, only that can be happen, because such a master, he knows everything in his wisdom. So therefore he put on his hand, so that means you allow to spread, all the teachings. So that we call Pulung, so it's very interesting. So therefore, what I want to say is that all the teaching has to combine with transmissions. And then not only the transmission alone is not sufficient, and then of course have to have some kind of pit instructions. So that means all the transmission, lung means all the teachings has to combine with certain kind of pit instructions. That has to come through the masters to master. It's not only just happen by reading the text. The explanations or pit instruction has to come from the certain master. So the transmission has to combine with pit instructions. And then pit instructions also has to combine with lineage. So from the Vajradhara to up to the Guru, it has to come without any broken lineage. Otherwise, who knows that the text might be just written by somebody else without any having lineage. It could be wrong, it could be right, we never know. So therefore the lineage are very important, so that if there's a lineage, so that means that we can assure that text is particularly whatever the text that has a lineage, that means that text is authentic. We can prove it because it's a lineage from that master to up to our root master, So therefore it called it, all the teaching has to combine with pit instructions. Sorry, the lineage. And then that's actually also not sufficient. That's also not sufficient. Just having a lineage is not sufficient. Lineage also has to combine with blessings. So therefore, that's particularly the Kyobpa lineage we call is blessing lineage. The Chodamse, Lungdangshepa, Lung Mangadangsepa, Manga Gyubadangsepa, Gyubachila. Lineage has to combine with the carry on kind of legacy of blessings. So blessing actually also comes from without breaking any samayas. So whatever that the teachings, the pass through masters to masters, and all those are actually combined with the carry on certain kind of blessing in our lineage. Of course, you can see that such as now that we still there are such His Holiness Drikung, His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche. We have such a kind of great masters that all have a very great kind of like the blessing, the lineage, the carry on till now. So we are so fortunate. In my case, actually, how I received the transmissions. So I'm also very fortunate to receive the Gongchik transmissions from late His Eminence Ladakh Church Toldan Rinpoche. I don't know, anybody met Toldan Rinpoche or received teachings? I'm sure you, nobody, yeah? So, oh, not really, yeah? Okay, so Toldan Rinpoche, he's great master actually. He's a great master, so he passed away just 3 years back. So he actually gave us this, the Gongchik transmissions. And I always remember, so I'm very close with Toldan Rinpoche. One day, he asked me to come to his residence at Ladakh, and he gave me a very small drum, still I have actually, small drum, very nice one. And then he make a wish, saying that may your, the Dharma activity will be spreaded everywhere as the sound of drum, So saying that, actually he gave me a small drum. So I still keep that one. It's very great, memorable time that happened. So therefore, Rinpoche is actually a great realization master. So he received all this transmission in Tibet. So I received that Gongchik transmission from him. That is the one meant I feel always blessing. And then of course, one of our mentor, His Eminence Khenchen Khoncho Gyaltsen Rinpoche, and then also many others actually at the campus that were during our schooling time at our institute. So we received several times the transmission and of course the teachings on the Gongchik, because the Gongchik is very the profound teachings in our lineage. So that is, I received that kind of transmission, so therefore I got some kind of the lineage that I can pass through the whatever I received the transmission. And the why the Gongchik And also, I'm very happy that Dolor Rinpoche is particularly he's working on Jigten Sumgon collection, and also particularly I was so happy to see this the text that is. Yeah, indeed, actually, we do have many dharma centers, many monasteries. Yeah, that's very sad that we are just, of course, we are practicing many sadhanas, many things, but still we are missing that there are so many pit instructions, so many precious teachings are lying in the kabum, the collections of Lord Jigten Sumgon, that what Dolor Rinpoche has been working on, that I'm really appreciate that, and also being translated many of those precious teachings. So we just always skip and we just only keep praying instead of using in our daily life, So therefore, the Gongchik is actually the one of the very profound teachings of Jigten Sumgon. But during the time of the Jigten Sumgon, the Gongchik wasn't there, actually. It was compiled later on by his the root disciple, Changa Sherab Jungne. Sometimes we call also Changa Drikung Lingpa or Changa Sherab Jungne is the same person. You will see the name as a Changa Drikung Lingpa or Changa Sherab Jungne is the same person. Sometimes also having 2-3 names is we confuse who is the author, And Changa Sherab Jungne, actually, he was with Jigten Sumgon around 11 years, if I'm not mistaken. Around 11 years he spent with Jigten Sumgon, and entire of the teachings that he received from Jigten Sumgon. And most of the teachings that from Jigten Sumgon that Changa Sherab Jungne he was receiving was that late Jigten Sumgon when he got older. And then, as we are human beings, and Jigten Sumgon also, he needs some kind of the foot massage, So while the Changa Sherab Jungne, his disciple, because when he was quite old, and then sitting, because the Tibet is very harsh winter, and they need to sit in front of fire, or in the winter time also sit under the sun. So while Jigten Sumgon was sitting there, and then Changa Sherab Jungne, he was offering the foot massage for Changa Jigten Sumgon, and then whatever he has some doubts or any kind of question, then he asked while he was offering massage to Jigten Sumgon, and then he asked those questions, and Jigten Sumgon he answers to them, and whenever he answered to each of the kind of the questions that raised by Changa Sherab Jungne, he was saying that Tekun pasa gidang maung bana pacho da juna awutsiwai. So that meaning is that whatever I answer to you, keep it in your mind. Who knows that in the future it will come out as a father dharma. Pacho is the dharma of father. Something while in the future while the time will come that you can compile, and that it will come as a kind of special kind of collections of the father, which is referring to the father is a Jigten Sumgon,
It's talking about like closeness.
Yes, something like that,
From your father. It's like intimate.
So,
Not just general.
yes, exactly. So each time, when Jigten Sumgon answered to him, and then he was saying, and sometimes also while he was offering the foot massage, sometimes when Jigten Sumgon was sitting under the sun and he was asking. So I think that most of the Gongchik kind of the Vajra statement, we call like Dorje Sung, we call Vajra statements, are actually the Jigten Sumgon taught to Changa Sherab Jungne like that way. Of course, the many of the Vajra statement was he taught in the publicly, we call like Tsokcho. Tsokcho is, I think you also translated some of the Tsokcho, Tsokcho means that Jigten Sumgon he taught to in the pub assembly. There's a Tsokcho. It's very interesting, Jigten Sumgon teachings there's a Tsokcho is the teaching to publicly, and there's a Richo is the only teachings for the certain kind of like people who go to the mountain. And then Pakcho is the certain only secret teachings that who has to practice very secretly. That kind of, there are many teachings that Jigten Sumgon, I'm sure that some of the Gongchik, the Vajra statements he taught in publicly, but many of those are, as I mentioned, it taught to Changa Sherab Jungne privately during the questioning to Jigten Sumgon. Yeah, this is how the Gongchik was happened. And then very lately, after Jigten Sumgon passed away, And then one occasion, and then Chang'a Sherab Jungne, along with there was around 100 his disciples. They were just going through the Gampo area in Tibet. They are going, I don't know, for pilgrimage or going somewhere. I think they were going somewhere. And then there was one great kind of scholar, one Geshe. I can't remember his name. Then he asked, that time it looks like that there was a kind of little bit kind of the yogis and just scholars that the Geshe looks like they argue each other, maybe the Kyobpa or the practitioner might they say, oh, you people have to be practice rather than you just keep debating, arguing on the philosophical term. You must practice. And maybe all the Geshes, all the scholars, the Gelugpa Geshes might they say, oh, you have to study rather than keep practicing. Looks like there this kind of controversy over there, looks like, And then when the Chang'a Sherab Jungne, along with 100 people, they were just going somewhere. And then one Geshe came and then asked for, what is your guru's, the view? And what is the conduct, Kyobpa? And what is the kind of practice, what kind of practice you are practicing? And then the disciple that who was leading their procession was he saying that after the 50 monks in our queue, so there is our master is there. You can ask to your master, And then when that the Gelugpa, the scholar, the Geshe, he met Chang'a Sherab Jungne, then of course he asked, and then Chang'a Junglingpa, he explained about my teacher is like a lion, and his view is so and so. So he, as a metaphor, as a lion. So my Jigten Sumgun, he compared as a lion, and whatever his teachings and everything he compared with the lion, and then he give all the kind of the views and then action and what kind of the practice we yogis are doing. He answered to that Geshe. And then later days, then Chang'a Junglingpa, he thought, oh, when I was asking all this, the question to Jigten Sumgon, then each time Jigten Sumgon used to say that you have to compile in one day, you have to keep all in this your memory. One time might be time come to compile all of these texts. So then Chang'a Junglingpa thinks that, oh, now this is the time to collect, time to compile all the teachings of Jigten Sumgon. So then he compiled the Gongchik text. He was saying that there was 5 times Chang'a Junglingpa he compiled the Gongchik 5 different occasions. So now only we have only one the root text that composed by Chang'a Junglingpa, Chang'a Sherab Jungne, that which I'm going to give you the transmission and also a little bit of explanation. Of course, we don't have much time. So yeah, that is I don't know other 4 the root text that which composed by Chang'a Sherab Junglingpa was missing, no anymore. Only we have now one the root text, Then of course, then later on there was the commentaries that composed to Gongchik. One of the largest the commentaries composed by actually disciple of Chang'a Sherab Jungne is called Chang'a Dorje Sherab. So we call another the Gongchik commentary. That's the one. And then Chang'a Rinchen Changchuk also he composed the commentary of Chenga. Chenga means that who were kind of like close disciple. We call Chenga means who live with master quite closely. That's we call it Chenga. Each disciple the name has a Chenga, and Chang'a Rinchen Changchuk. And then later on, and then also another Gongchik is missing. There we call it the Gargong. It must be composed by the Gar Chodingpa or something. That was actually missing. I don't know. There was saying that actually there was a Gongchik commentary called Gargong. And then later on, then the Ed Karmapa Mikyo Dorje, he composed extensive the commentary on the Gongchik. He was saying that the Gongchik is the kind of very important kind of like the collections of the view, action and meditation of the entire the Kyobpa lineage, So he composed a big commentary, Tapo Kagyoki, Dupta Chembo. He said, this is the great techniques of the whole Kagyu lineage, not only Drikung Kagyu, whole Kagyu lineage. And then also around the same time, then Karmapa the Jamarpa, fourth Karmapa. So he composed also commentary on Gongchik. And then Nyingmapa side, actually, Khenpo Kumpal, one of the great scholars, he composed the Gongchik commentary. So many masters, and of course very interesting. So that time, and then Saint Jigten Somgon, he became a very popular, and there was actually Sakya Pandita, he read some kind of wrote a commentary, which is kind of argument about the Gongchik, So those are the just kind of like simple introduction why Gongchik is very important, and so it is important. So therefore, the many scholars from the other lineage, not only the Drikung Kagyu particularly, and then other the master from Nyingmapa, and then also Karmapa, and many others, they compose the commentary on Gongchik. Is really profound. And then also not only profound, it's very unique, So there are actually about 150 plus, we call it like Vajra statement, but just one Vajra, one line gives you a very great meaning, I always very inspired with the Gongchik, just to give an example, like what is the difference between Buddhist and non-Buddhist? Jidam Sangma is saying that difference between Buddhist and non-Buddhist is that whether you are taking refuge or not, Just simple, No many other blah, 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 just only one line, difference between Buddhist and non-Buddhist like that, What is the difference between Mahayana and Hinayana? Whether you have bodhicitta or not. Finish. And what is the difference between Mahayana and Vajrayana? Only difference between whether there is the procedures of the empowerment system is there or not. If there is the empowerment initiation system is there, that is the Vajrayana. If not, that is not Vajrayana. Very simple way, So from the beginning to the end, each sentence is showing a great the meaning, So therefore, I was really inspired. So I'm also. Now there's so much to work on Gongchik. Also, I'm trying to, now very difficult to time. I'm also trying to, doing research, trying to collect the, finding out all the teachings from the Jigten Somgon, the collections that related to Gongchik, So nowadays it's quite easy to use this AI, artificial intelligence. But you have to make sure that is that don't try to learn everything from AI, I was just yesterday discussing with Dolov Rinpoche. I think the AI is quite useful that if you have a certain knowledge about the philosophy, Let's say if you have knowledge like 50%, if you have a kind of the knowledge, then if you use the AI, then you can learn some more details, things you can learn from there, If you are a beginner and yet try to find out some answers from AI, some of answer might be make up, Sometimes I also just sometimes I play with the AI, ChatGPT. So one day I just wrote, can you write Khenchen Rinpoche's the father story, Drikung Kagyu, some sort. It gives them, it's writings. It's a make up story, Might be some people who doesn't know about at all my father's story. So it will make up you something. It will present you some kind of article, But absolutely everything is from bottom to end is wrong, So what I'm saying is that. So therefore, using AI just straight away is actually looks like quite dangerous, But so therefore, having some kind of like knowledge, having some kind of information, even sometimes I also play with about the Gongchik things, But sometimes some are actually quite good answer, but sometimes just make up answer. So make up by AI is not really the intent of the Jigten Somgons, So therefore. We have to be very careful. So sometimes we also say that little knowledge is quite dangerous. It's something like that actually. So, and then why the Gongchik is so profound and why unique? That's another reason is that Jigten Somgon, he said that all the teachings of the Gongchik is he combined with the four logic. That's the very interesting, Each of the Vajra statements actually supposed to combine with the four logic. Tibetan we call Semashi. The logic of the Gyave Katsama. Gyave Katsama is logic of the teachings of the Buddha. Am I right?
Logic are also translated as kind of
authentic or truth.
validity.
Valid.
How do you know something is valid?
How is valid? Yes.
There are four bases of validity.
Yes. It's called validity. Validity. So each of the Vajra statement is just not only just made up by Jigten Sumgon himself. So he has some kind of reference from the sutra or Tantrayana. Always he gets some kind of like references. If you have some kind of reference from certain books or certain things, so that means that's kind of like so we can authentic one source of it is whatever saying validity is it captures. And then second one is that the valid of or logic or his own teachers or masters, it's like the previous master, either his master Palmuduba or maybe any others, Kyobpa masters or previous master. So that's kind of like the validity of the previous masters, even just not ordinary masters, the realization masters. And then another, the logic, the valid is, most important is that the validity of whatever Jigten Sumgon he says through own experiences, through experience. That's the most important part, Without he experience, he never says something, So whatever he share in publicly or maybe individually, whatever he share with. So Jigten Sumgon also he said that Zabgu Tsoksu Shenayang Nyamsu Manyong Meba Me. The meaning is that whatever I say in a publicly, each and everything it comes out from my own experience. Without experience, I never thought, that Jigten Sumgon he mentioned. So since that is experience, it has some kind of another the validity, another kind of some value is there, Without experience, if you say something, then it's becoming a kind of like empty talk, That's the one. And then the fourth one is kind of validity of kind of interdependent. See, Tendel, interdependency, dependent arranging. Mostly each of the Vajra statement it has some kind of example, some kind of history related to some kind of like logyu, the history, logyu, History is
so
there.
The
circumstances of the happen is there,
Why he said that statement.
Yeah.
What is he answering? What is he responding to? So this is the fourth.
So that's the fourth one. Is it interesting? Yeah, so therefore each of that, the Vajra, we call it like the Dorje Sung, the Vajra statement, it has a kind of, and then the meaning of the Gong Chik means the one, sometimes there's translated as a single intention, sometimes they call it like same view, singular thoughts, whatever we translate it into different words, but the Gong Chik means the same thoughts or same intention as a whole, the Buddhas of 3 times Buddha. So whatever Jigten Sumgon he says is, he did not say something beyond that what the Buddhas didn't taught at all, So whatever Jigten Sumgon's, the teachings are actually same view, same thought, same idea of the 3 times the Buddha. So therefore Gong Chik, same intention, same thought. Am I right? I hope I put in the right correctly. So that means the Gong Chik. And then the Dorje Sung means the Vajra statement, Dorje Sung. That's very, very interesting because the Gong Chik is based on, you see, it seems very interesting, That many of, in the Tibetan lineage, I would say during the time of the Jigten Sumgon born in 1143, 11th century, that time looks like there are many, within the Kyobpa, particularly in the Nyingmapa lineage, looks like there were many terton. Terton means the treasurer masters. Some of could be authentic. Some, Nowadays, actually, of course, there are many good teachers, really high resolution masters. Some of, who knows, we have to examine. So therefore, actually, those days looks like there was many kind of the masters, and they always try to get something from treasure, saying that this teaching is very precious. No one has these teachings. This I got it from the treasure, is it? From the treasure, treasure, yeah?
Yeah. So this, like, I got it from the sky, I got it from the earth.
wood, from the rock, from the so and so,
Sometimes so special, even Buddha Shakyamuni don't have.
Yes. You see, that things are happening, looks like that time. So therefore, Jiten Sungmo, whatever you do is, he says that it's the based on the sutra, based on the tantra. That's the very unique things, Even even the drawing, when we make the tanka painting, looks like that time, this is the tanka that my guru saw in his vision. This is a tanka that so and so appear in the vision. Of course, that could be good, great. Who knows that the vision could be deceived by some maras, some demons. It can be happen, So therefore, maybe if I get time later day, maybe I would like to explain a little bit about the importance of root guru. I hope I will get time to. That's very important, So seeing in the vision, it does not mean all are authentic, Sometimes it could happen that when we are, as a practitioner, particularly as a serious practitioner, as a serious practitioner, might he or she can see different things, can appear different things in her or his vision. May it be authentic, may it be correct, may it can be kind of like some kind of, you are deceiving by some maras, deceiving by some kind of like demons that happen, It's happened. There was a time, during the time of the Lord Buddha, a very interesting story. One occasion, the Buddha Shakyamuni, he was talking about the teachings about how to abandon attachment to your own body, Buddha was talking about there was, we all attach to our own body. We always assuming that our body is very clean, yeah. Although according to the Bodhisattva text, there was 36 different kind of dirty things we are contained in our body, just covered by our skin, No need to mention all those things. So when one of the times the Buddha Shakyamuni, he was giving a teaching about these things, one should not be attached on our body, everything is just impure, so and so, Then one monk got fed up, carrying on this body, He thinks now there's nothing is essential happening on my body. Buddha was talking about nothing is there, impurity things on our body, everything is impure. I think I die. I better to die than live, rather than living on this planet. There's no essential things are there. He really, kind of fed up being as a human being carrying on this dirty body, Then what happened was then he asked, those days, of course, the livelihood to start monks or nuns, even the lay community, very difficult to get food, difficult to get the clothes, And then the monk who really fed up carrying on this, the body, so he asked one of his colleagues, can you kill me, I can give you this belonging, we call like the Sikh dharma robes, the chogo, namcha, and some begging bowl, and they're carrying the karsil, there's 6 items usually the monks and nuns has to carry those days. And he was saying that I will give you as a gift for you. Please, can you kill me, He was seriously, And then he was very happy that because he was going to receive those, the cloth and begging for whatever from him, and he said, yes, I will kill you. Then he killed, he killed that one, and then when he went to, then after he killing that person, the monk, and then of course since he's gone, then of course he get all the belonging things. Of course, there's not such a precious jewels and diamonds and silver, just only that some clothing and some things are there. Then he got it. And then when he went to some nearby there in the riverside to wash the cloth being wounded by there's some blood, and then also the knife that was he used for killing, and then he just washing that blood things, and then he got some kind of prophecy from the Mara, saying that well done, you done wonderful job, as a prophecy, the Mandalvanam Devache, Mandalvana, you managed to liberate it, those who are not liberated from the samsara, did wonderful, well done. And then when he got this prophecy, his prophecy, yeah? When he got the prophecy, these kind of things, then he was very admired by that. He thinks that is a prophecy by Buddha or Bodhisattva or whatever. And then he just keep going, he will keep meeting some other monks and who want to liberate it, who want to liberate it from the samsara. I got this kind of special kind of like prediction, special kind of prophecy. Do you want to liberate? Yes. He killed 60 monks. 60 monks. The true story is in the Vinaya, I'm not make up, don't be, not make up my story. You can research all this Vinaya if you want, He killed 60 monks. And then during the time of the Sojong, Sojong, what do you call that? The purification day, every full moon and new monks, that the monks and nuns, they need to gather and they need to do the purifications, for theirs, whatever they committed during the past 2 weeks, they have to do some kind of confession prayer. We call it Sojong, So during the Sojong time, there was less monks there, because 60 monks are missing, And the Buddha was, why today there's less monks there? Then Ananda said, that things happened. Story was happened that the Gelong so-and-so, he did like that. And then Buddha said, you are the stupid one, and so. Then Buddha gave the teachings, that's happened. So why I'm saying is that it could be, so therefore of course, we cannot say all wrong. All the precious, that there are great treasures, actually, great master. Even there are now, sometimes nowadays, even now, very dangerous, as we already discussed about AI things, now it's very dangerous, whether it's a true story or just false story, that now, so even there's up in last 10, 15 years back, actually, there was rumors spread one Guru Rinpoche's kind of prophecy, something which is not really Guru Rinpoche one. Some people now just make up and they're spreading, similar to that way. So therefore, so some kind of like the treasure, the whatever somebody got from treasure, it could be right, it could be wrong. So therefore, Jiten Sungwon, he's saying that we have to base on the Buddha's teachings. Buddha's Sutra, Buddha Tantra, whatever is there, we have to get a reference from the Buddha's teachings. There cannot be impossible to get a false on the Buddha's teachings. That's very true, because Buddha is omniscient, Buddha is Thamche Khenpa, Buddha knows everything, Buddha is the enlightened master. Buddha cannot be wrong. Of course, even Buddha said that Buddha never asked us to believe what I said. That we know that's the common teachings of Buddha. Buddha asked very clearly, asked us to please examine on my teachings, research on my teachings. Don't just believe, assuming that this is the enlightened master. Buddha said very clearly. That's the one of my favorite kind of Buddha. I'm sure. When we examine, analyze, you will become more clear and more clear and more clear, and then you will trust on Buddha's teachings more, So therefore, it is very also important that actually we say that Tibetan, there's three things, Teba is, first Gawa, Teba, and Mugu. These three things have a very big meaning. Kyobpa, first when you begin to, when you are very interested about learning about the Buddhism or learning about the Buddha's teachings, first you will get some kind of like joy, gawa. Oh, I want to learn something. I want to study that one. I want to learn something. Then once you keep studying, learning something, examining and just contemplation, then you will get, oh, there is some things. Yes, makes some sense. Then you begin to get a kind of like faith. Teba is conviction, some kind of conviction, that's called Teba. And then after you got that kind of conviction, Then when you try to implement those teachings, step by step, step by step, step by step, and then the one upon a time, then you will reach certain level that we call mugu. Mugu is some kind of like then undestroyable kind of like the devotion you will gain, undestroyable, the mugu. Sure?
Yeah. So mogu is usually translated as devotion.
Devotion, yes, yeah.
Yes. So here Khenchen Rinpoche is sharing. This is I think, is very helpful. I think these three things, yeah,
Gawa.
they are so related.
First we get the gawa, and from the gawa we will get tepa. From the tepa you will get mugu. Once you reach the mugu, then you see the Jiten Sungwan also said very interesting, Lama dan sang rangsem sangya sum chiktu tokbe najola jome mugu chagume dachemeke najo. Lord, it's very interesting Jiten Sungwan, He said that Lama dan guru and you and also your own mind, when you see as a sameness, at that time that you not necessarily to make a Chome Mugu artificial devotion
is unnecessary.
That time you see everything as a inseparable. Your mind and the teachers and Buddha is become a oneness, sameness. There's no differences. That is called devotion. Then whatever Guru does, even Guru did whatever crazy thing, whatever, you see Guru is always a devotion. He is like, you see when in the case of Milarepa and Marpalotsawa, Tilopa and Naropa, those masters are really, even though they just were looking, they are doing some crazy things, but they are really high realization master. Then Guru, the disciple, always mugu on their teacher. That is the very high level, isn't it?
Yeah, so these three, if I can kind of elaborate what Khenchen Rinpoche, this is really very helpful. So first is joy, literally, gawa, but you could say that's interest. You are interested.
Yes.
You enjoy learning the Dharma. Then from there, it develops into once you think more about it, you analyze it, then depa, normally translated as faith, but better translated as conviction. You are convinced, like, oh yeah, this makes a lot of sense. This really makes a lot of sense. But there's another step called devotion. That's the part that I think a lot of us don't understand. And especially in Kyobpa, we always say devotion is the final, right? The final
like
cause for realizing nature of mind. And that, I would say, is beyond the intellect. It's heart now. Yeah, devotion. Like the heart just opens now. And then that definition, then when you see that your mind and your Guru's mind is no different, and then nothing nothing to fight over anymore, Mogu. Yes. Gawa, Depa, Mogu. So there's a net. You should progress in this way. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for
Does
that.
Does it make sense? Good. Is it interesting about Gongchik? Oh. Hello in Zoom Mandala. Are you listening?
Still there. They're not. Still awake.
So it's really nice to study about Gongchik. Of course, maybe in the future, Lopon Rinpoche, I'm sure. I think you already...
During pandemic.
During pandemic, yeah. And
so this big book here, published by Professor Jan Zobich in Germany. Professor Zobich is main, we call native informant, native scholar that he worked with is actually Khenchen Rinpoche. So Gongchik, if you want to know more, here it is.
We worked together for 5 months at least. So while I was
going over the main commentary,
yes,
Dhammakirti's commentary,
yes, yeah,
line by line,
So we went through. Glad I put lots of effort.
Here's the big book.
Therefore very interesting. So therefore the Jigten Sumon, he said that we really have to rely on the teachings of Buddha. Jigten Sumon never said that, oh, my teaching is super powerful, you have to follow. He never said, he always based on the teachings of the Buddha. So that's a very interesting, even as I mentioned that earlier, Jidan Sungwa said, whatever we draw, making any tanka painting, whatever, we have to base on the Buddha's. There's actually explanation about how to draw, how to make the line, everything based on the sutra or tantra, you know. So whatever, and then, so sometimes, of course, when we practice any kind of like sadhana or any dharma things, we will experience the different things. If that kind of the experience are actually kind of matching with the teachings of the Buddha, that is absolutely fine, you know. So if that is not really matching with the Buddha's teachings, and then if you think this is something that I got some kind of like very special kind of realization which are not even mentioned in the Buddha's teachings, then you stuck there. Okay, so now I think also better to read some transmission actually also. So yeah, actually there are actually the Gongchi commentary. So I hope in the future the translation will be there. Some have already been translated. As the Lord Rinpoche mentioned, this is actually one of the, I think, wonderful translation that we work together on that Dharmakirti. Dharmakirti is the first, the reincarnation of His Holiness, the Chungzang, very great master actually. So he composed that commentary. So now what I will do is now I will read the chapter-wise. So first I will read one chapter transmissions, and then also I can do a little bit explanation. So we don't have, because then also I need to give transmission of also under some other texts as well. So I will give the reading transmissions of the first chapter, and then I will do explanation. Drikung Kyobpa jikten sumgyugwenbe kyacho gongpa chikbe zajung. Drikung Kyobpa jikten sumgyugwenbe gongpa chikbe kyacho changa shirab jungne. So that who compile all these teachings is actually from the changa shirab jungne. Namo Rana Guru, Time Osa, Toki Gigudo, Mandeshi Jingobo, Jedawa, Tamjazibo, Kungen Chogeji, Nyame Drikung Rinchen, Chazalo, Gawa Chogeshana, Sombai, Tamjo Cabra, Tom Mahimbe, Mondo Zebe, Jejun Pamega, Mongbe Tambatung, Zamji, D, Jiri Deshi, Sheba Chogi Wangju in there, then Tangude Dutala, Soba Mangoji, Sumba, Golu, Tolu Sosoro, Jungjin, Tamjagang. Zabjin Mozarwa Gacho Baji, Tela de Ranjan, Namgishebe, Cabra Bats, Mirawa Gaji, Nawe Denham, Legbar Chewa, Dini Gawa, Gombachi Bajawa, Cabragin, Gadang Nabju Yobala, Tean Somdungi, Sajaki, Mike Cheba Tambo, De in the Chiritijin Shebani, Chogi Wanshu, in Bete, Kandra Sheba, Tedra, Sombe, Tengido Giro in Badomo, Deni Sangaki Chodamje, Shizam Babgi, Nelukona in Batembra, Chogi Bumba, Jidon Somba, Dagi, Jugoyang. 가양롱을 주배경 장집 챔버도 과 이모기 되는 저기 봉고 게르지 동수 상교도베 타주 지도 제도 되노스나 괴대시 도자 강 모베 람도도 바 이모기 되는 되노스나 괴대시 람께베 림바 임바 제도 저기 콜로 숨보 리전 타다바 숨바 숨바 이모기 되니 저기 콜로 숨보 허기 도베 개발임바 때문에 제도 초기 콜로 숨보 주자 타대바서서 마레버더바 이모게 되니 초기 콜로 레라양 숨가 상황인 바셔도 초기 콜로 따게 돈될 때따라 내경 치기 쏨바 미사와더바 이모게 되니 초기 콜로 치마치메 nga본 nga마네바 임바셔도 콜로 숨 초기 콜로 리전 타대바성바 이모기 되니 초기 콜로 숨콜기 도베 개발인바 된바 셔도 초기 콜로 숨보 주자 타대바서서 만데바 임바 데모기 되니 초기 콜로 레라양 숨가 상황인바 셔도 초기 콜로 따게 도연되는 나양 세기 쏨바 미사월도바 이모기 되니 초기 콜로 치마치메 사봉 아망아마 네바 임바 셔도 데 콜로 숨니 내당 둘라서바 개발게 제바 임바 도모기 되니 도당 도동이 내게 콜로 숨데 임바 셔도 덴바지 초기 콜로 뭔가 이모기 돌외 되는 마임바 도바 이모기 되니 도외 되는 den지 초기 콜로 임바 제도 대관 나서 어떤 만에 초기 콜로 임바 제모기 창임에 반응 예도는 더 망모기 되니 대관 나서 어떤 만에 돈 초기 콜로인 버시도 가탐제 당회 동랑 예배 동랑 소와 덴바 바지 셰 디인셰바 탑기 주말에 임바도 뭐게 되니 타룩 바스 뭐 탐장 여던 바지 되니 바시도 우메 가당 셈잠베 가 타데바도 바 이mon기 도르진 셈잠도메 강이 우마도 바리 바시도 로베 군족인 도지 미누 바인 바도 뭐게 도르진 로베 군족인 도전 바인 바시도 상이 바로도 쳔발라서 탑 사주 드로발라 직자 남라 대달 많이 바인 바도 뭐게 되니 람 탐제 사주 드로바 임 바시도 딤게 주바는 직자로 주고 너바 이모게 되니 람림 탐제 림기 주바 임 바시도 디바 탐제네 통말레게 디바 되는 유몽베 디바 다 실에 디바 임 바도 뭐게 되니 실제 디바 온라 봉아 임 바시도 테만의 무대책이 당 투모노 기르와 상계의 초점을 기르와 더바 이모게 되니 참마 탐제기 에제 임 바시도 테만의 디바 당amba 순진바 임바라 세메 드부 메버더바 이모게 되니 세메 드부 충이 동바 임버데도 두다 나서서 동바 제반에 기갈 문데 라소버고와 더바 이모게 되니 두다 진바 탐제 랑교바 임바지도 무대기 따저 공바 탐제 방자 바지도 봐 이모게 되니 무대 발라 시기게와 두자몽과 임바지도 무대바 치료 무대바나 남바 상계배 켜바 저기 차결라서 봐 켜바도 봐 이모게 되니 신앙게 켜바 겹도와 임바지도 태바 체중게 켜바 장주 기초스면 서두는 임바도 봐 바로도 침발라서 봐 람도 봐 켜바도 봐 이모게 되니 태바지는 켜바 섬게도 임바지도 창이 바로도 침바 상하게 켜바 교당 되고 람도 제바 임바 됨 타다바도 봐 이모게 되니 나 창이 켜바 왕도 임바시야도 바로 집에 대바당이 강롱레 상장주인 바도바 이모게 되니 상아 강매경 조배 장주인만 메토바 돈바송바 개와다 미개와 소소리 냠슬렘 바도바 이모게 되니 돈바송바 방자 미개와 임바 나지 임바저도 송자미 돈방이게 돈바송도 개바도바 이모게 되니 나보보요 돈바 개바도 임바저 대바라 집에 이모 감라서바 돈방이도 된바 이모게 되니 감랑진 난다더라 임바도도 장주게 쳤으면 서든에 대바 숨기 람코나도 뭐 이모게 되니 장주게 쳐게 쳤으면 서든 바 대바라 집에 이모 임바저도 참여바지 지덴베 땡이제 코나도바 이모게 되네 참여바 지딘셰바 인보 인바도도 택과 남바 숨보 규당대부 타다진 대부 타다바 인바도 뭐게 되네 택과 담제 렉지도 인바제도 냥도당 로세점 미도바 냥도기 땡기게 소기와 이모게 되니 투베고바 로세점 냥도당 타도 장주 인바게 바제도 초기고로 지네도 기숨 초기 돌제송 숨주바대 갑당보 송. So now that is the kind of the translation of the first the chapter. The first chapter is talking about the what's the statement about the dharma will, the will of dharma. Basically there are 30 Vajra statements. There's 30 lines actually. So each of the Vajra statements actually it was explaining about the opponent view, other view. The other scholar, whatever other scholars say, and then also the Jiten Sumgon view. So that's in the short explanation. That basically, when we talk about the first chapter is saying that it's very interesting, you know. The first Vajra statement saying like that. In general, the people claim that since the Tathagata is the Lord of Buddha, he teaches things as whole them. And thus he are like that. So meaning is that actually some people think that he is Buddha, he is enlightened masters, he can do whatever he likes. Yeah. So many people think like that the Buddha is like a god, you know, as a kind of like theory of the god creator system in other religions, or Hinduism, or within even the Christianity, or many others religions that who believe in the God, they have a kind of like the belief system saying that the God he has full of power. If God wants, he can change entire universe. That's a kind of like belief system is there. The God created everything. God created as we human beings, all sentient beings. God created all this universe. So that's the kind of theory is there in the religions. Similar to that way, some people think that if Buddha want to live, he can live for 1,000 years. If Buddha want to die, he can die just right away. If Buddha wants, he can do white into black, black into white. If he wants, the virtue he can transform into non-virtue. Non-virtue he can transform into virtue. Like that kind of, even I think that some people even might even in our group might be. Sometimes we think like that. Buddha is, he is the one. You know, he can do everything. But the Jiten Sumgon he is saying that all the teachings of the Buddhas reveals the original state of the the fundamental nature. So Buddha actually, he also has to follow the fundamental, the nature. That means kind of talking about the law of the cause and effect, Buddha, he cannot. If the Buddha, even the Buddha, he has to actually follow the cause and karma. He has to go through the dharma system. Assuming that is the Buddha, he cannot transform everything as he wanted. Not. So that's the very interesting, isn't it? So similar to that way, actually, all the Vajra statement that talking about the here are in the first the chapter. He has 30 chapters. So 30 Vajra statements are explained about in this way, and I just would like to emphasize another maybe three, maybe 2-3 kind of explanation that I would like to do. Okay, maybe I don't know where I am now. Okay, and then also some also say that is there are two kinds of vehicles. Basically, we talk about the vehicles of Sanghi Thekpa, which is the Sutrayana, and then actually another one is Tantrayana. And then some say that without the depending on the Tantrayana, practicing alone the Sutrayana, one can achieve enlightened mind. Some say like that, or maybe like those people who are very much kind of only practicing about the Tantrayana. Oh, you no need to practice the Sutrayana. Oh, Sutrayana practice is just kind of like only the practice that can be practiced by only the who has the lower capacity. Or if you can practice Tantrayana, you can achieve enlightened mind within the single lifetime. You can just only practice Vajrayana. That is sufficient. You no need to practice Sutrayana. Some say like that, And then some say maybe even nowadays happen, there's some kind of like controversies there, little controversy, not as a big issue. Sometimes actually the brothers and sister who practices like Theravada, and sometimes actually also they criticize. There are a little bit of kind of criticism about the Vajrayana, Oh, this is a Vajrayana is not really the teachings about the Buddha. Some they say like that. I'm sure you heard about that, Or only the teachings of the Vinaya, or that kind of like the part of the Sutraya was taught by the Buddha. So if you manage to practice only this one, then you can achieve enlightened mind. You don't need the Tantrayana practice. Tantrayana was not taught by the Buddha. There is always... So therefore, keeping the view by Jigten Sumgon, so he said that is without Tantrayana, so you cannot achieve enlightened mind. Without Sutrayana, you cannot achieve enlightened mind. In order to achieve enlightened mind, you need to practice the Tantrayana and Sutra both. That's very interesting, He just always kind of... It is not that kind of he's just making up his mind. It is true, It looks like when I look on this, the Jigten Sumgon, his view, reflecting in my mind is saying that maybe that time, even nowadays actually also happening that sometimes people that particularly in the some within in the Tibetan the lineage, sometimes the people, the Tantrayana is a very superpower. You don't need to practice anything else. If you practice only the Mahamudra or Dzogpa Chenpo or something, then every teachings are actually already summarized under the Dzogpa Chenpo, under the Mahamudra. You don't need to practice at all, and this totally just kind of like rejecting all the practices and just only convincing to practice only this part of the practices. That's sorry to say, might be that's actually, yes. But actually, we people are actually something like that, Sometimes actually, although we are still missing. We are still lacking from the basics, the practices, but yet we always seeking for some kind of like high teachings, high empowerment. That is our I don't know, false or our greedy or I don't know, you know. I also have some experience some time ago, actually, way beginning of actually 2000. I think around beginning 2001, 2003, I used to go to Singapore a lot, almost every year. And then sometimes when my teachings, they announce about just basic teaching about four foundations or just introduction about the Buddhism, they just turn up only 30 people, 40 people, like that, you know. One occasion then they asked me to teach about, maybe you try about the Mahamudra. So people were very, they really want to learn the Mahamudra, you know. So then they just put in the newspaper, you know, Kyobpa is going to give teaching next week, Mahamudra. That day was the full of the whole, you know, I think there are around more than 200 people turn up to listen to that kind of Mahamudra teachings, you know. It's something like that, you know. So therefore, the Jigten Sumgön also, he said that one of the very important, the teaching Jigten Sumgön said that is the, many masters, they say that the actual practice are the most important. But Jigten Sumgön, he said that in my view, the preliminary practice are the most important than the actual practices, which is kind of true, you know. So preliminary practice is like a kind of like the foundation, you know, like a building of this one. So if the foundation is not stable, then even we build like maybe 10, 20, 100 storage, might it look like very beautiful buildings, might it will collapse very soon if the foundation is not stable, you know. So similar to that way, if our foundation level is a very not stable, particularly that deeper understanding about the fourth foundation, if you really kind of renunciations, really kind of, if you don't have that kind of good understanding, then the latter part might be when we enter into the part of the higher stage of the Mahamudra or whatsoever, that might be, even there is a kind of chances to arise some kind of wrong view, you know. After receiving so many higher empowerment, so many higher Mahamudra teachings, and after that, if you don't receive any kind of small CDs or attainment, might you will lose your devotion, might you lose your faith on the Dharma, and that happen, you know, if there too much expectation. So therefore, if we have a kind of like some fundamental, the teachings are very. So therefore, actually, I always rather than giving empowerment. Actually, the Khenchen Rinpoche always actually he liked to teach rather than giving empowerment. You know, because in also my personal experience, I always very much appreciate that the teachings, because if we have a very good understanding about the teachings, the philosophy, it really makes a big difference in our life. Really, it makes a big difference. You know. Yeah, that was happened in Denmark. Went in way back in the 2005 in Denmark, when I was as a guest professor there. And one occasion I was outside waiting for a train. I was traveling somewhere to somewhere, you know. And there was one guy came to see me and saying that, "Are you Buddhist monk?" I said, "Yes, I'm a Buddhist monk." Then he said, "Can you do a favor of me?" I said, "Yes, what I can do, you know." His hand was carrying like that way, you know. Then he said, then he started sharing his problems. His hand got a paralyzed. Then he got a fairly kind of like depression, you know. Then he was saying that, "Can you do a favor for me?" Means then, of course, he thinks that maybe the Buddhist monks, he has a kind of medical power to heal, you know, something, you know, he thought something. Eventually, also, I thought that I feel very, after he sharing his sadness and his difficulties, you know, then I thought actually if I have some kind of superpower, I could have healed his hand. But of course, unfortunately, I don't have nothing superpower, you know. And he starts saying that, "Oh, I have now a family member, I have wife, I have 2 kids. Now I cannot work for my family members. I'm thinking of committing suicide. I'm so under depression. Then I feel very sorry, but of course I cannot. Then I just thought of going to share something. Then I said, "Do you have some time?" He said, "Yes." Then we sat down somewhere at the corner. Then I start sharing him. I just try to accept to him, and I try to open up his mind, because his mind got us so narrow-minded. He thinks that now I'm the only person on this planet who has such a trouble. In that case, actually, his mind becomes so narrow-minded. Then I asked him, do you think that you are the unfortunate person on this planet? Yes, he said, I'm very unfortunate. Almost he was starting to cry, No, I cannot walk. Then I asked, how are you? How old are you? He said, 54 years, if I'm not mistaken, Then I said, till now, 44 years you got your very wonderful life. Even now, you got, apart from your hand got paralyzed, one hand, and still you manage to talk, still you manage to walk around, still you manage to, therefore you manage to walk, you manage to see, you manage to talk. I think you don't need to worry too much, I said. So I said to him, don't you think there are thousands of, we don't need to talk about the whole universe, don't need to talk about the whole world. Just we don't need to talk about the whole Denmark. Within this, the city of Copenhagen, don't you think there are the innocent thousands of kids who born as a handicap, who just lying in the bed, just right from their born, who has no eye, who has no legs, who has no ear. They just, even the single day they didn't get the time to live very happily. There are so many unfortunate, innocent kids. Don't you think like that? He think, he didn't answer right away, He think for some time, and then he thinks, yes, there must be many thousands of kids like that, Then I said, don't you think, compared to those innocent, the kids, who even did not get a single day to live very happily, who born as a handicap, don't you think you and I, we are one of the more fortunate people on this planet? Despite of, you are having a little bit you got a hand paralyzed, still you are fantastic, you managed to see and able to talk and able to go walk around, and there are many thousands who wish to walk around who has no leg. So likewise, actually, I was trying to open up his mind, and I tried to explain something. And ultimately, I was so happy, I was success, I managed to convince him. And at the end, he was so happy. He said, thank you very much. No, I'm not going to worry at all. And he left, Really. So like that way, it's really, the teachings are really wonderful. The teachings are really, and of course, we are so fortunate that Dolab Rinpoche, he's not just only our Buddhist philosophy where actually he got a doctorate degree, and also not as like us that who comes from the Asia. We don't have much actually way that have experience of how to teach, especially you Westerners. So you're so fortunate to have such a teacher like who really always share teachings and chance to learn from him. And I always feel like the teaching is the really kind of make a big sense in our the life. It will really. That's particularly in my personal experience that whenever I face some difficulties or sometimes the teachings are very helpful. It's really open up our mind. Of course, it's not mean that there is no benefit to doing the pujas or no benefit for receiving empowerment or whatsoever. Of course, I'm sure there are. Maybe even sometimes just people just taking a part of the puja are there. They are receiving some immense of just joyfulness, happiness. That's also good, Sometimes actually just receiving an empowerment. Many people feel like really relaxed and happy. That's also good. But the real kind of like the blessing is that if we have a good understanding about the certain philosophy, topics, and then really bring some changes in our life when it comes to difficulties, So therefore, actually, basically all the teachings of the Buddha are actually, as all we know, and I'm sure the Lord Rinpoche always share you, basically all the teachings of Buddha, even this, the Gongchik, the teachings are actually the main part are summarizing into the three, the parts of the three baskets, the Vinaya, Sutra, Abhidharma. Why the Buddha Shakyamuni, he taught all the teachings are summarized into three baskets is because in order to deal with three uplifting emotions, which are the root causes of the whole entire of suffering, sometimes due to our ignorance, of course, yeah, sometimes due to our ignorance, we mistake, Sometimes also due to our own ignorance, sometimes we lose some money. Sometimes, Sometimes what happened? Sometimes we mistake. Even nowadays, very dangerous. This artificial intelligence. Sometimes also due to we don't have when something we could not. Now there's so many that the companies, the business people are so smart, there are so many under the descriptions, you have to accept the click, but without reading everything, but ultimately they want to, they are so smart. So of course we don't have much time to read all the kind of description, whatever the explanation talking about, but basically ultimately due to our ignorance, we are actually also, there are so many things are happening in our life. Sometimes due to our anger, of course, due to our anger, what things are happening, even individual level, our family level, our society level, global level, what things are happening around us, we know, all of us, due to anger, or sometimes due to attachment, killing each other, wife and husband, and sometimes, and also because of the property problems, sometimes killing each other. So that's because of the attachment. So therefore, basically, we all want to live happily, but due to all these kind of uplifting emotions, and then we cannot live happily. So therefore, the Buddha Shakyamuni simply, he taught the teachings basically, which are summarized into three baskets, are actually in order to deal with those three uplifting emotions. The Vinaya is actually to deal with attachment. So therefore, basically, the simple is that in the monks and nuns, the Vinaya rules are how to live simply. That's therefore the monks and nuns actually we don't keep long hair. So there's no way to increase attachment, Very quick. Oh, my hairstyle is better than you, and your hairstyle is better, your color, isn't it? There are many people. It's so much attachment. When was that? Oh, just recently I got one. The family friends, my friends who come from Nepal they visited me just recently, and their daughter, she said, I really want to become a nun, but is there possible to become a nun without cutting my hair? She told me so much attached, I can see that how much, So therefore, the Buddha there is a simply only not the hair, but then also the neglects our ornament and then dressing and everything. Those are actually our way of living style actually also causing us to increase lots of attachment. So therefore Buddha taught us not only for the monks and nuns actually. That is another very interesting story about the Gongchik, but maybe the latter part of the Gongchik it will say. Buddha is very interesting, Chidam Songwan, he said that all the rules that might be sounds something very strange for you. Whatever the Buddha makes rules, that for everybody, not for only particularly for the monks and nuns. That's the Jigten Sungwan, his kind of the view. But that will come later on in the Vinaya. So therefore, to deal with attachment, the Vinaya, to deal with anger. Actually, in the Sutrayana, why the Sutrayana is actually antidote for anger is that in the Sutrayana, the Buddha talk a lot about the loving kindness and compassion and bodhicitta, and particularly that kind of the bodhicitta is directly dealing with the anger. If you have a bodhicitta, if you have compassion, then you can deal with the angry people, anger. So therefore, and then also in order to deal with the ignorance, and the Buddha taught about the Abhidharma. Abhidharma is talking about the everything in very detail about the 5 skandha, 5 aggregates, and 18 elements, and all of these things are each of the aggregates about the definition, characteristic, classifications, and everything mentioned very detailed in the Abhidharma. So that as much as you learn, that much you will gain knowledge. That much you can increase your wisdom. If there is you have a full of wisdom, there's no room for ignorance. If there's a full of light, there's no room for darkness in the room. So similar to that way, actually, that is basically the meaning. So therefore, actually, the Buddha taught about the teachings are basically actually medicine in order to deal with our mental illness. The mental illness means actually which is affected by our sometimes ignorance, sometimes anger, sometimes attachment, sometimes even jealousy, what some other people have and which we don't have. That also cause our suffering. Sometimes even, I'm sure it happened that some our friends have and which you don't have, might be difficult to get sleep at night, So that is actually the thing. Do we really have to stick with the timing, Lobon Rinpoche? I don't know. The people who are in the Zoom advantage is they can just have stand up and have a tea, and they have a more advantage. We are here sitting. They can travel and they can go to kitchen and.
Maybe we should break, have lunch, and then
Continue. Okay. Okay, lasso.
quick lunch, come back. So we want to start back up at 1:15. Yeah, so that's a good place. That's a good place.
Good. So then you can just write. Of course, the important is that teachings, and then also sometimes I always feel like the questioning and answerings are quite important. And although on the also Zoom also, if I ask you to write the question, there will be lots of the question, but there's some very important. Of course, every questions are important actually. So if I say that, it might be not appropriate. So it's good to have even I don't manage to answer at this time. Maybe then also since Dolo Rinpoche is always here, and then also he can just not write down, and then also another occasion also can be answered. So and then might be in the evening. The last session might be today, tomorrow. We can have some time for our questioning and answering. That's my hobby actually. I love it to have a question. That's all.
Changchu Semcho Rinpoche Ma Kyobpa Nam Gyöchi Kyobpa Nyampa Mebaya Gone So again, we are going to gather back and continue at 1:15 local time here. For those of you on Zoom, you are on different time zones. Right now is 12:07 here. So in about an hour, we're going to restart. So have a good lunch.